Owning a house is expensive, so much so that 70% of Americans today feel squeezed by owning their own home, meaning that the cost of owning the house is higher than they anticipated in a lot of different categories. And today, I'm going to give you a breakdown of some of those categories and what exactly is costing more than what people had anticipated and how this might affect the U.S. housing market going forward. Now, 70% of U.S. homeowners are feeling overwhelmed with the cost of maintaining their home. What exactly is the breakdown of what is costing so much that they feel like they can't make it, or maybe that they're sacrificing other expenses just to keep their household afloat? Well, let me tell you. And all of this information, by the way, comes from a recent study done by consumeraffairs.com, and I'll leave the link in the description for anybody that wants to dive deep into this. These are the main expenses that people are citing that are making it difficult to own their home in descending order. Regular repair costs, regular maintenance and upkeep, homeowners insurance premiums rising, HOA fees going up, property tax increases, mortgage insurance premiums, significant repair costs, rate increases for insurance premiums, and then repairs not identified prior to purchase, meaning that a surprise expense that comes up that you didn't think was going to happen. For example, your AC goes out 6 months after you buy the home and you need to spend $5,000 on a new one. That's something that couldn't have been anticipated if the AC seemed to be in good shape and passed the initial inspection when you bought the home. Now, even though the last 18 months might have been the best time in history to ever buy a house in the United States with record low interest rates, it comes at a cost. And some of those costs are the fact that mortgage payments now are higher than they ever were before in a lot of markets, which leads to just more of your monthly income going towards just paying for your house. And then when you have a lot of unexpected price increases related to insurance or maintenance that you weren't anticipating, this can easily push your monthly budget beyond where most people are comfortable. And especially since a lot of people work typical 9-to-5 jobs that are salaried and without a lot of expansion to grow their income overnight, this could be problematic for a lot of people who are struggling to own a home. And this is where I think this study gets interesting but alarming at the same time. Out of these 70% of homeowners that are claiming hardship to afford their home, they're actually sacrificing other things financially in order to afford their homes, which in my opinion, as a longtime real estate agent, means that they really can't afford the house they're living in, and at some point they might need to sell, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's go over the things that they're actually sacrificing in order to make their house payment every month. 36% cited that they're carrying a credit card balance in order to pay for their home, meaning that they are not paying off their credit cards in full each month. They're carrying a balance, paying that 18 to 22% interest rate that credit cards charge. Already that in itself should be an alarm bell going off who anybody's in this situation. If your house is so expensive that you can't actually pay off your credit card debt each month, that could spell financial disaster for people who are in this situation. But there's more. 33% cite difficulty with other expenses, 30% cite general financial stress, 29% cite missing payments on other bills, 25% monthly expenses sometimes exceeding their income, 25% say relying on emergency funds or their savings to pay bills, 24% say they're going into debt elsewhere, maybe they're buying a car they can't afford, who knows. 22% say working instead of spending time with others, meaning they're putting in more hours just to make ends meet, which at the end of the day makes life more miserable. And then 21% say less ability to save or invest, which means they're pouring all of their income into their home, which definitely can make you feel house poor. And then finally, 19% saying living paycheck to paycheck. So if that means 20% out of these 70% are living paycheck to paycheck, that could mean that those people who are in that situation could be in a short sale or a foreclosure situation within the next couple of years, because houses are not getting any cheaper. So anybody who's going to jump into this situation and be this financially strapped right now, it's only going to get worse with the rising interest rates looming on the horizon for 2022. But also people who are in this situation right now, if they're living paycheck to paycheck and say the economy goes in the tank because of the rising interest rates or some other external factors and they lose their job, those 20% out of the 70% feeling strapped could easily be the ones listing their homes for sale next year saying, we just can't hack it no more, we need to go back to renting, or we need to downsize and get a more affordable place because this just isn't working anymore. Now, there's a lot of other statistics that I could go over from this article, but those are the ones I mainly wanted to mention because I think this is how it might end up affecting the housing market. So one of the biggest problems we have right now is not enough inventory in a lot of markets. But if 20% of those 70% are feeling financially strapped and they may end up listing their home in the near future, that could actually be good news for the US housing market, opening up more potential inventory within the next 12 to 18 months, which actually be a great thing because prices are at record highs, and with the interest rates looking like they're going to be going up, the Fed is claiming there's going to be 3 interest rate hikes in the year of 2022. These two things combined could actually make homes a lot more affordable essentially overnight, because when interest rates go up, the price of housing comes down. And then when you factor that in with more inventory on the market, which means more choices for buyers, things may start shifting from this long-time seller's market to becoming more of a balanced or even possibly a buyer's market. And I think that would be one of the healthiest things to happen right now in the US housing market, with so many people claiming they can't even afford to buy a house right now, with so many saying they can't compete with the bidding wars, they're just giving up. So this could be a good thing, and I think this is an important financial lesson for anybody who's in this category that we discussed in this video, because probably a lot of these people might have bit off more than they can chew because the interest rates have been artificially low for a while now. So some people may have just bought more of a home than they anticipated they could afford. And then if they have to replace a new roof, they have to put in a new air conditioner, they have to redo the driveway, they have cracks in the foundation, whatever may come up. These kind of things can put a huge financial burden on somebody, and if you're living paycheck to paycheck already and carrying a balance on your credit card, let's face it guys, you just can't afford these type of expenses, and you probably aren't ready to own a home, or maybe it's time to downsize to a much more affordable home. I also think that this could lead to a rise in rental prices. Rental prices have already been up over the past 12 months, but this could lead to an even further increase in rental prices, because if some of these cost-burdened homeowners turn into renters, then those people are going to be looking for rentals, which is going to make the rental inventory even tighter, which actually makes the cost of rentals go up. Now, I think one important thing to mention in this video is that when you get pre-qualified for a mortgage and your mortgage broker or your bank gives you a loan on the house, they're saying, yes, go ahead, we'll let you buy it, we'll approve you, we'll give you the money, and they're telling you that you can afford it from their point of view. But only you know your finances as well as you do, and I think this video is a really important lesson to make sure you are financially savvy with your own budget before you jump into owning any type of property, because I think it's really important to make sure you account for expenses that could pop up with a home and factor in maybe some increase in the cost of owning that home and maintaining it over the years, especially with inflation now and everything's becoming more expensive. And so whatever it costs today to own the home, you can easily say in maybe like 10 more years, it might cost 20% more per year to own that same home. So I think that's a reasonable thing to take into consideration when calculating your budget to own a house. Now, if anyone watching this video is thinking of making a move to Florida in particular, please give my real estate team a call. All the information is in the description below, and we'll be happy to help you make a smooth transition to our state. If you enjoyed this video, then check out my 2022 housing market prediction and what I think might happen in the coming year right over here, and I'll catch you guys over there.